Hello, everyone. Let's see. Hi, James. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Chesco. Hi, William. Hi, Art. How is everyone? How was your weekend? Hi, Shane. Hi, Kyle. Hi, Roy. Hi, Dave. It's good to hear, William. Well, if you can tell from the description, we're going to be having a special guest on here tonight. I'll bring them in here around probably around 6:45 once we make sure there's everyone who's here is going to be here. Hi, Joe. Oh, how's everyone doing this evening? How was your weekend? What did you do for the weekend? Hi, Mike. Hi, Dwayne. Yes, Art Fall has come to PA. It's very nice. Dave says, good, youngest daughter got married. Well, congrats to her. see, we have 11 in here. So Mike, we're going to have a special guest. It's in the description. So we'll bring him in here in about between 10 and quarter after. I will post a link here if you want to check them out beforehand. There's a link to his channel. Hi, Dwight. And if you decide to check it out, watch a couple of his videos. If you comment on one or two, and then if you like what you see, be sure to subscribe. Make sure you watch a couple videos first so that they don't think it's sub for sub. Kyle says, not sure how long I can stay, only day off, and have a 12 plus hour shift tomorrow. Yikes. Where's that, Kyle? Where do you work at? Kyle says, for the condos here in the Gulf Shore and Orange Beach, Alabama, still cleaning up after Hurricane Sally. Work security. Yay, you got that right. Hi, Dave. Mike says any taco contributions can be sent directly to me. I'll make sure Nick gets them. Also burritos, enchiladas, tamales, or quesadillas. Quesadillas. Chicken quesadillas. I love chicken quesadillas. Hi, Jerry. Hi, Brian. Or is it Larry tonight again? All right, so I'm going to be bringing in our guest right now. And everyone say hello to Nathan Gilmore. Hello, Nathan.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. Well, it's a pleasure to be here today. I do want to say I thank you for this opportunity, and I thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
I come here today to answer a few questions and say hi.
Yep. Like I said, if you're not subscribed, go over to his channel. I will put a link in the chat and watch a couple videos and subscribe. And make sure you watch a couple videos first so it doesn't think you're a sub for sub. All right, so first of all, how'd you get into YouTube?
Well, for me, it started because on YouTube, okay, I never had access. I couldn't see all the progress reports and everything else. The only thing I could access was YouTube. So what I did was whenever I would go up to East Broadtop, I would record up there, and I had all these videos saved up. And I decided, maybe some other people are having this problem as well. So I started my channel, I think back in March, and I've just been posting up progress reports and a few other things that I find, you know, interesting, such as East Broadtop. That especially, that's been the main focus on the channel. So yeah, I'm new to it, but I'm sure I'll get used to it, and I'm happy to keep posting up videos about it.
Yeah. How did you first find out about the East Broadtop?
Now that is a very good question. Actually, I was at my grandfather's, surprisingly, and I was rooting through some old boxes and stuff of pictures, and I found this old picture from the 90s of my grandfather and my father standing in front of, I believe to be 14 and 15. So I had asked him where this was and everything, and so on and so forth. We had one day ended up going to the East Broadtop, and I had actually loved my experience so much that I thought I could contribute and everything, and I joined the Friends of East Broadtop.
When did you join the Friends of the East Broadtop?
I actually joined, it was either 2017 or 2016. Yeah, short, okay, but I joined. I went to all the events they were having, whether it be open houses or tours or anything. I would go. I would learn more and more. I would talk to a lot of people, and it was a great experience. And I fell in love with the railroad.
Mm-hmm. Now, are there any other narrow gauge railroads that you're a fan of?
I do get down to Cass. I do enjoy that. That's been a pretty big experience. They got a lot going on down there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Finishing up on number 9 to Shea. Um, I haven't gone down there in about 2 years, but I have been keeping up with what they've been doing. I do plan on getting down there though soon and recording some videos by next year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's a few others. I just faintly remember it was mostly my grandfather that got me into railroading. And he'd bring me to all sorts of different railroads. And I think the first one he ever brought me to was Strasburg, and then it was the Everett. Actually, I had gone to the East Broad Top as a younger child back in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an amazing experience. And one of the biggest things I remember, which I have remembered for the longest time, there's a walking bridge, okay, maybe a mile up the line, okay. There's a small walking bridge. It goes across the tracks. And I remember this memory. I was with my dad and my grandfather. And I remember I went down to the tracks. I walked down the bank and I placed a penny on the tracks and I ran back up the bank and I went on the bridge to watch number 15 roll over it.
Mm-hmm.
In my visit in 2017, I believe, I had actually gone back to that same spot where they weren't running absolutely anything, and I placed a penny right there on the tracks in hopes that one day another train would run over it. So I think it was a miracle or a prayer that was answered for me.
Sorry about that. My dog is getting happy in the background.
Oh, that's all right. Also, I am sorry about the camera. I don't know whether people can see me or whether I can't see myself, but my camera wasn't working.
Okay, yeah, we can just see your little profile picture or whatever.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I couldn't get my camera to work. Now, Nate, I do want to ask you a few questions as well. And one of my first is, how did you get involved with the East Broad Top?
Well, my dad had worked with a big train guy back at his company, and because he gave him a brochure for the East Broad Top Railroad, and he brought the brochure home and was like, oh, that looks neat. I had never been there before. So the first time we went out there was, I believe it was the mid to late 90s. And I've been hooked ever since then. It's such a unique and historic place. Like I said, I've been hooked ever since, and that's when I caught the narrow gauge bug.
Good name.
But yeah, I've ridden the Durango and Silverton, also the Cumbres and Toltec, the Wiscasset, Waterville, and Farmington, the Georgetown Loop, the Colorado Railroad Museum, and let's see, a couple other places. But I grew up riding the Strasburg and the Blue Mountain Reading.
Okay.
And I guess that's well, it all started back when I was about 3 or 4 years old. My dad set up his trains that he had as a kid, and he let me run them, and I was hooked ever since then.
Dang it. Wow, that's interesting. I definitely don't have as much experience in railroading.
Mm-hmm.
I've had my fair share. And yeah, I mostly grew up riding the Strasburg Railroad. It did get old after a while, and I wanted to see more railroads, and that's more or less how I started going to a lot of others. But I've mostly been around the Pennsylvania and the Maryland and Virginia area for the most part.
Yeah. Let's see. I also rode the WKNS, the Everett. I've been to Cass once. I would love to go back there. That's an amazing trip if you ever get the chance to go out there. Like, well, I guess you have. But for anyone that hasn't been there, I highly recommend that. And hi, Wilmer. Um, like I said, I think I'm going to try and have a YouTube meet and greet at East Broadtop next year. I'll have to see what their schedule looks like for next year, but I will definitely let everyone know when that's going to happen.
And I'll do so on my channel.
When did you start volunteering with the Friends? I know you said you joined about 2017.
Mm-hmm.
When did you actually start volunteering and helping with different projects and stuff?
No, yeah. Actually, that was a thing I noticed. So when the Kavolgi still owned the railroad, okay, before 2020,
Mm-hmm.
I was told there was only normally 6 to 8 person crews, okay, and also they weren't, and I'll be completely honest, they weren't doing very much. So I didn't see the real true point in volunteering. So I went to most of the main events and I showed off the speeder rides and everything. But when the foundation bought it, and then it was the first work session they had, which was in April, it should have been.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, all sorts of stuff started, blowing up on my device. And I found just how much they already did in but a day.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that's why, because the second work session, which was in March, that's when that's the first time I volunteered. There was a record breaking of about 68 people there. It was either 68 or 75. But I think it was just seeing how much work was already going into the railroad and how much care and effort was going to be put into it. And I think that's the reason I started. And each month I've been volunteering, mostly doing track work. I help out in the machine shops. I've done painting twice.
Mm-hmm.
But it was such an amazing experience. And on top of that, if you want an experience like you get at the East Broad Top, okay, where you can volunteer and just work, Other railroads, you would have to pay a fortune just to do stuff like that. Where at the East Broadtop, you can do that and more.
Mm-hmm.
You can truly experience railroading. You can work with all the equipment. You can work alongside with the officials and all the different people who work there. And that is what I like.
Yeah, the Friends of East Broadtop, they're a great organization.
Yeah, that is true.
Let me post a link in the chat here.
Oh yeah, if you haven't already, go to the Friends website and the Foundation's website and donate to both. They always like the support.
And let me put the Foundation's website here.
And while he's doing that, I do want to say, what was it? The officials, the foundation specifically, and the Friends, they're very open-minded. All right, they take all the considerations and everything. Any comments on different projects. I actually got to talk with Henry Posner III. That was a real treat. My grandfather didn't even know who he was talking to. But I was talking with him a little bit about the paint shop building and how there's maybe 10 feet of concrete flooring coming out from the entrance to the paint shop.
Yeah.
And I was talking with Mr. Posner about extending the paint shop. And he considered it. And we talked for a good 30 minutes about it. Because the concrete platform there is wider than the actual paint shop's floor. So if they were to extend the building there, people would have a lot more room to move around. And that's another problem. They can't be as efficient in the paint shop because of how much is in the way. Okay, we have the scaffolding built up around the combine we have being worked on at the moment, and then we have all the different machinery and items lining the walls. So you have but a foot or two of clearance, and that's about it.
When did you start documenting the progress from the railroad?
Yes. So it was actually my first video I posted up. It was a roundhouse tour I did, okay, of all the locomotives before they started doing work on number 14 and number 16. And I had a recommendation to start doing reports, progress reports on the railroad and show off all the progress that's been being made and all the projects that we have. So I can't think of my second video at the moment, but a few videos ahead of that, I started calling them progress reports, and I would walk around the entirety of the Orbizonia yard, and let me tell you, that is tiring.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you do for content?
The foundation bought it when we go to the fall spectaculars. My dad, we used to walk all over that place.
Yeah, and let me tell you, man, it is a workout on the legs, because I think one of the biggest mistakes I made was where I was around the machine shop area. I was showing off everything around there. And then I decided, because the track crew, we worked on a switch, okay? Frog switch all the way up to the head of the Black Log Creek Bridge,
Mm-hmm.
where track 1 converges with the main line.
Yeah.
So I went up there and to record all that, and then they had also put down ties and running boards on the Black Log Bridge. So I recorded that. But I completely forgot about the fact that I would have to go all the way back down and then show off the coal bin. That's what they call it, coal bin, or the coal feeder, whatever the name is. I forgot.
Coaling station, I believe.
Yes, the coaling station. So I had to walk all the way down there and show off just how much of the weeds and all the shrubbery that we had gotten rid of. Which they did an amazing job on that. I haven't been part of a brush clearing crew, but man, they're doing an amazing job.
Yeah, when I watched that video, the whole area was almost unrecognizable to me. I mean, because now you can see, like from the main line, you can see the reservoir.
Now, it was amazing because when I look at my speeder videos I've done, I can see all the trees and all the shrubbery that's grown up, and now I look at my now videos and I see just how much of a difference there is. I mean, this is how the railroad looked. It did. And what I've heard, okay, is we're clearing, I think, all the shrubbery and bushes off of all of the grade, and about another 5 or 10 feet back of trees and shrubs and everything else that's growing along the line, and we're just removing it all. So you can get a lot better shots, okay. And on top of that, even when you're riding the train, you can look out and you can see the fields, or you can see all the different details that there is to these broadtop.
Yeah, it's almost like it was back in like the 40s or 50s.
Yeah, and it's amazing. It truly is. And track work is an experience as well, because when we'd replace a tie, all we'd do is we'd take some of the jacks and lift up the rail and everything, and we'd take some of the ties out, the older ties, okay, and some of them would barely even be but sticks.
Yeah.
But now we have these nice hardwood, ties, which we actually get those from a metro up in New York, a metro line. That's where we actually get our ties. I found that out.
Are they treated or untreated?
I believe they're treated. I can't remember. I do know that when they do come to these broadtop, we take small wooden plugs and plug up the holes where the old spikes used to be on the metro, as to not let water into the ties and not allow them to rot as quick. But yeah, you can see such a large difference when
they were bought secondhand.
Yes, they were used on the metro, because especially metros or the first class railroads, they have to keep up with the tie work. Okay, so yeah, I think it's just a certain amount of time before they have to replace their ties again.
Okay, so, because they all look like they're brand new ties.
I know, and that's the amazing part. It really is. But that's what I heard. What's his name? Can't remember the man's name. I think it was Brad who told me, or it was either Henry Posner. Either which, um, I was told that they came from a metro up in New York.
Mm-hmm.
So that was interesting to learn. I think I said that in one of my videos. But yeah, when we would replace ties and everything, we'd take out some of the ties, and they would barely even be but sticks. Okay, and we'd have to dig
You
the holes.
basically digging up dirt.
Yeah, basically that was mostly what we were doing, and some of the more solid ones were just almost completely rotted. Um, I think, and I've seen so many bad ones on the main as well. Um, and the ties are just loose underfoot and everything, and the spikes have come out, and it's just so much of a difference to see nice hardwood ties underneath those rails.
Mm-hmm.
Feel better.
Well, I know my dad and I went up on the 15th of August for the reopening, and we went back on this past. Well, we went back on October 2nd for the Harvest Moon dinner train, and the ride was just so much smoother and nicer. I mean, I
Mhm.
remember before going through the curve on the high fill, it felt like, the coach was going to tip over on its side from
Mhm.
rocking back and forth so much.
Yeah. It was a definite improvement. And I could see that even through speeder rides and everything. You could just notice just how bad it was. And now with all the brand new ties underneath, it feels amazing. And what we would do, we would make sure it's engaged and everything. Um, we did everything how the railroad would have originally done it. And what we would do after we were done with a certain portion of track is we would grab the M6, with the flat cars and everything, and we would have it run over it, okay, at a quick speed. God, and just looking at it, it was you wanted to give yourself a pat on the back and everything. Like, it was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Well, what amazes me is how much they've gotten done in such a little amount of time.
Yes, and that amazed me too, because I never thought something like this would ever happen to these broad top. Okay.
Me either. I've been praying and dreaming and wishing, and ever since it shut down at the end of 2011.
Mhm. Um.
I know a lot of people that if they would have hit the lottery, they would have either bought the EBT or given the money to the friends to fix up. And
Now, I do have to give it to Joe Cavolci for he kept the railroad together. He really did. Okay. And no matter what, okay, um, and people were calling him dumb and stupid for not selling certain portions of the railroad and everything, but he made the right choice. He sold it full, in whole, and now the foundation has the ability to restore what I believe to be from Orbizonia to Colgate Grove, and then from there all the way to Mount Union.
yeah, I believe there's talks of eventually in the not so near future of eventually opening up the entire line. But yeah, they need to take it in baby steps and little chunks.
Oh, now this is also a real funny part. all of the officials, they're so antsy to get to all the other portions of the line. Henry Posner as well. I've heard a few stories. He's been real excited about extending the line. He just can't wait for it. Brad too. Um, uh, Man.
Yeah, well, they definitely need to get the current operations going and recoup some of their money before they can look into expanding.
Yeah. That was also said. Like I said, they're all antsy, but first things first, we do have to get the Orbizonia region, all situated, and then also getting from Orbizonia to Colgate Grove completely done, where we're having all the ties replaced. We're putting in tie plates and spikes and everything, all brand new stuff. And once we're done with that, we do hope to have enough money, have something smooth going that we can start extending the line.
Yeah, now how are you going to deal with heading into Mount Union? Because that part of the railroad is owned by the Preservation Association.
Now, with the Mount Union Yard, okay, at the moment, the foundation only owns up to the crossing before the Mount Union Yard, okay?
The 522 crossing.
Mm-hmm. They only own.
I had heard they only owned up to the concrete viaduct.
Yeah, yes. Well, that's just right in front of it, really. That's why I say the crossing, because a lot of people don't know there's a concrete arch bridge there. So normally I refer to the crossing as the end, because the concrete arch is just right in front of it. But when we start extending towards Mount Union, we're going to do it like we actually just did it in Robertsdale, okay? We got rid of all the trees, all the shrubbery, and we sprayed down poison. But with, at least to my belief, when we start extending, we will have to regrade where the line used to be, and then start to rebuild the track there. So it's definitely going to be a task, but I'm sure with everyone gathered and enough hands and money, anything's really possible.
Now, how would you deal with the Preservation Association and getting the all the trackage in the yard and all that property back? Because without that, you can't turn train, because the yard has the old Y in it.
Yes. Now, there was a little bit of discussion, especially about the Y, and I have heard a few rumors about the foundation possibly buying the yard back from the preservation, but those are just rumors. Okay, that's nothing certain. But I have heard with the Y that it might have to be shifted just a tad bit from where it originally was.
Yeah, because the McDonald's and everything is there now.
Exactly. So what we would have to do is we would have to shift and then straighten the Y out. Okay, a lot like the one in Colgate Grove.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think that's how we're going to do it in Mount Union. But I do believe it's only going to be long enough to switch around locomotives, and that's the way it originally was anyway.
Yeah, it was only long enough to run a mic on to turn it.
So that's the way they're going to do it, I do believe. Now, with everything else around Mount Union, I don't know how they're going to do it all, okay? Because those are questions I have as well, and next time I am up the East Broad Top, I will ask. But that's what I do believe might just end up happening, is the preservation might sell it over to the foundation. But again, there's nothing truly certain about that. And then on top of that, number 3, their 060 switcher in the locomotive shed. That was sold off by the Preservation Association, and no one knows who owns it, other than the man himself who owns the yard. So what we're gonna do if we do buy the yard with the locomotive, we don't know, because we own, well, the Preservation Association still owns a building, but they do not own the locomotive anymore. At least I do not believe.
Interesting. I did not know that.
And then number 6, which was sold off in the 40s.
Yeah, that's at the, what is it, the Whitewater Valley?
Yeah, the Whitewater Valley. The East Broad Top actually sold off number 6 for $10,000 to the Whitewater Valley. And actually, the Whitewater Valley is offering to sell it back at the same exact price in the condition it is in, with a rebuilt wooden cab and all of its valves and levers and knobs and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard it's in pieces, but they have all the pieces.
Yes, really, number 6, of course, it's just sitting on a siding at the moment. The only thing that's really there is the boiler and the wheels. But most of the other stuff, they tore up number 6 and used a few of its lines and everything, I do believe, for their other equipment. I don't know what specifically, but like I said, if it does come down to it, the foundation might buy number 6 off of the Whitewater Valley if we do ever buy Mount Union. Because if we buy Mount Union, we will actually have a place to store number 6 in the locomotive shed. And the problem is, at the moment, is the fact that if we were to purchase number 6, there would be no place to store it.
Mm-hmm. Now, what do you think is more realistic? Restoring the line to Mount Union, or heading south and like restoring at least to Saltillo and rebuilding the Y there?
Yes. After I had somebody ask me about the Y at Saltillo, and to ask some of the officials about that. Well, I haven't done that yet, but I definitely know. I know they're going to extend it south at least to Saltillo, and I also know that they will try to stabilize the 2 tunnels up in the mountains. They actually recently got blueprints, okay, and different inspections of what was the tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
So I heard that they do plan on stabilizing them before those tunnels collapse, because there is already small portions of the tunnel where rock is falling from the ceiling and the sides.
Yeah, I know there's a big cave-in on the one end of the Sidling Hill Tunnel.
Yes, that is on the what would be
The
the
north.
Robert. Yeah, that would be the entrances, Sidling Hill Tunnel, going towards probably Orbizonia, I believe. Right? I can't completely remember. But
Yeah, I can't remember which side is north or south. I can't remember which side the roll-up door was on.
um, but yeah, that'll definitely be interesting. And then they've also gotten blueprints for their their sliding doors that come up. Not the
Mm,
sliding.
the roll-up
Yeah,
door.
yeah, they got blueprints for the roll-up doors for the tunnels and for the roundhouse as well.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they might make some sort of custom frame around the entrances and have some roll-up doors put in. That way, no one will go in there. That way, it's a lot more safer environment around there, just to decrease any casualties or accidents that might occur.
Yeah.
Um, and then I do know that at some point they will extend it to Saltillo, but farther than that, I don't know. I know that sometime far in the future that they will extend it to Robertsdale. I know that,
Mm-hmm.
but when, I don't know. Mount Union, I would only guess, is about maybe 5 years, maybe a 5 year process, really. Anywhere in between there is when we're probably going to start on it. But again, anything can truly happen. So it could be 10 years. It could even be 15. You never know.
Yeah.
Or they might completely change their mind, decide to go south. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. What's the condition of the viaduct? The concrete arch viaduct. I mean, I know it has a lot of spalling. But is that something that can be repaired, or is that going to have to be completely rebuilt?
Now that I've somewhat of an idea of, but we haven't had any inspections of it since I believe it was the 90s, where we actually had an overall report of the railroad and how much it would cost. Um, Now, the Pogue Trestle Bridge and the Ogwick Creek Bridge are about at the same cost to completely restore, and that's about in the 200,000 to 300,000 range.
Okay.
Whether or not they're going to have to tear down the bridge is all up to the condition of it if we get it inspected. So only that will tell us when and if we'll have to tear it down and rebuild it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, along with the blueprints for the rolling doors and everything, they also got blueprints to change up the bridge styles as well. Okay, so the Hardwick Creek Bridge and the Pogue Trestle Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
There's many different blueprints of all the bridges and portions of the line that the Foundation had found inside of a safe. So whether or not they're actually gonna proceed on any of those ideas that the railroad originally had, because um, when it came to regular ballasting on the railroad, because if the East Broad Top would have survived, okay, and it would have still stood today operating in its original state, it would have switched over to ballast, and it wouldn't have remained as the bony that they would
Yeah.
pull out of mines.
Mm-hmm.
So the Foundation decided that they would just use ballast to use, or gravel in this case. But whether or not they'll proceed with any of the ideas on the blueprints, I wouldn't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna have to cut you off here. There's another show coming on at 8 o'clock. Tom's Trades and Things.
Well,
So I don't know if you're subscribed to him or not, but we're all gonna head over there in actually pretty shortly. So yeah, I'm sure there's more you'd like to talk about and more questions I have for you. So would you like to come back next week?
yeah, I definitely wouldn't mind. Keep in touch with me. I'll message you if anything comes up. But yeah, I would love it. I wouldn't mind coming at all. So,
All right, yeah, that'll be the 19th at 7 o'clock.
okay, that sounds good to me.
All right, and yeah, I'm sure I'll ask you all kinds of questions throughout the next week. And yeah, I'll definitely keep in touch with you.
All right. Next time, hopefully, I can get my camera working and we can both see each other's faces. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Either way, thank you so much. It was a really good experience, and I was really happy to answer people's questions and your questions as well. So, thank you very much, and good luck to you. And I will see you on Monday.
Yep. Yeah, thanks for coming on, and thanks for answering all our questions and for all the work you do and volunteering and promoting the railroad. And I'll see you next week.
All right then. Thank you much, and I'll see y'all later.
All right. Good night.
Good night to you.
All right. So that was Nathan Gilmore. And like I said, if you're not subscribed, go over to his channel, check out a couple videos, and subscribe. And I will see you all over at Tom's show. So remember, everyone, keep the rails narrow, and I will see you all next week. Good night, everyone.